This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal stair, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.
Good.
This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have as a basic principle the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. Once you discover what it will be, set out to do it, and to do it well. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Finally, in your life's blueprint must be a commitment to the eternal principles of beauty, love, and justice. Well, life for none of us has been a crystal staff, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Okay, we are. Okay. Okay, Mr. Edgar, we are ready for you to be on, but before we put you on the live stream, we just want to thank you for doing this tonight and let you know that if you have any audio like on your computer, if you could just mute that so that it doesn't double.
Mute. You said mute what? I'm sorry. What did you say? Mute the sound?
Any computer audio, yes, so that it doesn't double up on our live stream.
Okay. Wait a minute.
And
Okay,
that'll be all.
Okay, wait, before you go, wait, don't go. You said turn off the microphone.
Turn off like the computer output audio, not your microphone. They're separate.
Not the microphone down at the bottom of the screen.
No, not that, but
okay.
The computer audio like YouTube.
Okay.
Good. We're ready? Okay. Okay. And now.
I can't hear. Good evening. You can hear me? Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Garrett Thomas for the invitation. Um, it is indeed an honor to be invited to speak this evening to the audience about our next 250. You are to be commended. I don't I've just been talking to you, Garrett, so I don't know who else is on your team, but you and your team are to be commended for the work, the commitment that you have put into the creation of our agenda, as well as the creation of solutions. You didn't just look at the problems; you came up with solutions as well, and they are very, very detailed, and you're to be commended for that. You've put a lot of work into creating that extensive agenda. I did take a look at it, and it is a great piece of work. Thank you for that. So when I was asked, when I was asked to speak today, well, actually, some time ago, about the topic of the next 250 years of American history and what I might be able to share with you this evening. And I gave it some thought, and I decided that in order for me to look at the next 250 years of American history as an elder, I felt that it was paramount to examine the past and the present America, and then look into the future. Um, America was founded by a group of people, mainly consisting of criminals and religious heretics who were banished to a new land. If the indigenous people who were already living in this country had not embraced these pale faced people, they certainly would have perished. Native Americans showed them how to survive and thrive in their new environment and welcomed them. What they got in return were blankets with smallpox and eventually pushed off their lands and forced onto reservations. In 1619, another group arrived in America. These people were brought to the new land, shackled together with iron chains. They were brought to the newly developing colonies by the same pale faced people who forced the indigenous people to live on reservations. Slaves. Slaves built America with free labor for 200 plus years. Southern whites became rich off the backs of slaves and from the wombs of black women. In South Carolina, slaves harvest rice and sugar. In North Carolina, they harvest cotton and tobacco. In Georgia and Virginia, more of the same. Northern whites manufactured the products of the yield. The theory of slavery was that blacks were less than human, inferior to whites in every way. We could not freely travel, we couldn't marry, we couldn't learn to read because these practices were viewed as weapons against our ignorance. We were divided by degrees of color. Our nuclear families were destroyed. As children were separated from mothers, husbands from their wives, this was one reason why we have embraced the concept of extended family and the village concept. We are not the immigrants who came looking for a better America. However, our history, the groups that came from 1619, these groups are embedded in American history, so that Black history is American history. And on this very first day of Black History Month, I want to lift up our past, our glorious past, and to continue to look forward. We've been in a battle throughout our history in America. Our history is glorious and is painful. We have consistently embraced this country that brought us here against our will. We have endured slavery and risen above the white supremacy theories that fueled the violence of the Reconstruction era with its white vigilantes and paramilitary mobs, also known as the Ku Klux Klan and slave patrollers, who later became police. We have endured oppressive black codes, Jim Crow segregation, massacres, lynchings, and bloody baths for wanting to be treated as a human being and later having the right to vote. Despite mass importation of our humanity between the years of 1619 and 1860, the horrific mass atrocities that occurred from 1865 to 1877, and the animalistic treatments of blacks during the civil rights movement of the 1950s through the 1960s. Through it all, we have shown our strength, our resolve, our creativity, ingenuity, innovativeness, intelligence, and our excellence. We have prevailed. We have been courageous in the military. We have been master craftsmen, inventors, made groundbreaking scientific discoveries. We have excelled in sports, created genres of music called spiritual, jazz, blues, and hip hop. We have documented our beauty and struggles in essays, poems, and dissertations. We have used our oratorical skills to free our people and invoked a revolution leading to radical changes in America's political system. Most of the time, though, we never receive credit for our work. For example, Selma Hortense Burke, sculptor, who did a relief of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. That relief was later placed on the dime, the dime in our pocket. If you look at a dime and you see the face of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, you are looking at the work of a black woman, a black sculptor who would not let him just send her pictures. She forced him to come if he wanted her to do the work, that he had to come to her and sit for her. And he did. And so the next time you look at your dime, even though change is going by the wayside, think about the fact that that dime, that picture of President Roosevelt, was created by a black woman. We have built America. And it would not be the most powerful country in the world without the contributions of the black people who were stolen from Africa and brought to America. We are the fabric of this country. We are the conscience of this country. We are the spirit of this country. As cited by Tom Burrell, the author of Brainwashed, Challenging the Myth of Black Inferiority, we have been conditioned for at least 300 years to believe Black is inferior and white is superior. We have consciously passed that belief down through the generations, embedding it in our DNA. The big lie has been the most effective psychological social experiment of all time. We must eliminate the negative propaganda cues and replace them with positive propaganda prompts to help prepare our minds to rethink, challenge, and unplug from the big lie. We are to transform our minds and not buy into the narrative of inferiority when there is proof of our positive impact. The ignorance of that narrative is a weapon for control. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 have been the foundation for other groups to push for change and who have benefited from our struggle. Think about the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities and provided protection. Now, when I was a college student at Seton Hall University, in the 1970s, told you I was an elder. There was talk then of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 being rolled back. But in my youthful arrogance, I I repeatedly pronounced there was no such thing that could possibly happen based on our previous fights and the progress that we have made. I was wrong. I was incorrect. I now stand 50 years later as that elder saying we must still fight and stay ever vigilant to protect our voting rights. And lest we forget, upon the election of President Barack Obama in 2008, we thought we had achieved that society, that post racial society. Blacks and whites made history by electing the first African American president. However, we did not realize the importance of going back to the polls for the midterm elections in 2010. And all hell started breaking loose as the backlash of having a black president picked up steam. It was ignited by the hatred for black people. And that hatred has been embedded in this society since 1619. We and our allies woke up in 2012 and came back out to vote. President Obama came back to the White House, not because he was black, but because he gave America hope. But the backlash of a black president who served 8 years in the White House dug into the core of this racist country, and then the idea of following him, the possibility of a black female president in 2025, that fueled an explosion of sexism, misogyny, racism, violence, and ignorance in the minds and actions of those who want this country to go backwards to the extreme doctrine of white supremacy. So much so that a convicted felon, a chronic liar, and this was proven through professional fact checks, I'm not name calling, was placed in the highest position in this country as president. And so now here we are again in the present. This year, we are again faced with midterm elections. In the face of the chaos, the barbaric manner in which ICE agents are roaming some of our states, murdering citizens in the street, arresting journalists, we cannot turn away and be silent. And so, as we look at the next 250 years, if we are to survive the ravages of this current administration, we must think differently. So often we hear, we must get the youth involved. That's what we say. We must get the youth involved. It occurred to me that while we are absolutely in need of more youth activists like Garrett Thomas, what we really need is a multi-generational, multicultural branch that's working together. We must unite and galvanize people of all races, ages, to defend our democracy, imperfect as it may be, against fascism. We are to be mindful of misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda designed to control our thinking. We must march, protest, write letters, make phone calls, influence lawmakers. We must oppose rollbacks. We must litigate rollbacks. We must use songs of protest. Thank you, Bruce Springsteen. We must use art and employ social media as a tool for change. So now, as we think about the upcoming 250th birthday in July of this country, I think of Frederick Douglass, who in 1852 questioned what to the slave is the 4th of July. He answered his rhetorical question with a scathing indictment of hypocrisy within the heart of this democracy. When the Constitution was written, a man named James Wilson proposed the president be chosen by popular vote. Popular vote. But the majority agreed on a system known as the Electoral College. There have been 500 proposed amendments to change the indirect system of electing the president, but that Electoral College remains. If the Electoral College is not abolished, this country is doomed to repeat the mistakes of 2016 when Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote. There is a need to take the power from a few and give it to the majority. The Electoral College must be abolished if America is to see another 250 years. That's just one example. And as important, we must continually encourage people, register people to vote, especially our youth, and then vote in every single election, from the school board to the municipal, to the county, to the state, to the federal. We must vote every time. We must be civically engaged in our community. We can create our own civics education program, not just for young people, but for the adult community as well. And that might be an opportunity to have that intergenerational conversation. So, will we complain, get filled with fear, stress out, vent on social media? Will we be whining spectators? Or will we utilize the tools of this democratic society that is said to be of the people, by the people, for the people? We have shown the power of community before and have proof of what collective action can do. There is a scripture in the Bible, James, in the book of James, chapter 2. And it says, what does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but not works? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so is faith without works is dead also. There is something for each one of us to do to carve out a better society in the upcoming years. We must stand in faith, speak truth to power, choose community over chaos, be community over chaos, build order for the greater good over disorder, confusion, and destruction. We are to have the courage, the conviction, the unification, the dedication, the action, and the cooperation to work for community. Working people built this community. Working people are the backbone of this community. Working people can take back this community and make it what it should be for the many and not for the few. I want to certainly give a shout out to the nurses who are still protesting. We can make this change, but we cannot have fear. We cannot have fear. We can't let fear win. We can't let divisiveness win. We can't let hatred win. We can't let fear render us in a paralyzed situation. We cannot do that. We know that through love, we can build community. We can overcome hatred. We can make our society better for all of us. In the next 250 years, we have to do things differently. The systems need to be re examined and explored how to make them more equitable for all. Because when the Constitution was constructed, when the Constitution was constructed, it was constructed for the few. It was constructed primarily for landowners and for, well, landowners. And things have changed. When, at the time that the Constitution was created, a black man or woman, we weren't even considered. White women weren't considered. We are the change that we're looking for. People like Garrett Thomas and his team, they're the change that we've been waiting for. I really encourage you to look at the documents that have been produced by this group. One document is called Our Agenda. I love it. Our agenda. We have to have an agenda also. And the other one is uh, our our 2025, because we understand that Project 2025 is designed to dismantle all of the progress that has been made. We can't get tired now. We can't sit down. It is stressful and people are fearful, but we get to lean in to each other and on each other. We get to do this work to make this better for people like Garrett Thomas and his team, people like my my grandchildren, and my friends' children's children. There's too much at stake. I just am so pleased with the work of these young people. We get to support them. We get to support them and we get to lead from behind and let them lead in front. We get to talk to them and share ideas with them. And yeah, sometimes we get to disagree with them. And then when it's all over, we get to come out with a consensus of agreement and continue the work. I want to thank you for allowing me to come on this evening and to share just a little bit about, in order to look at the future, we must look at the past. We're experiencing the present, and in experiencing the present, it's enough to make us all want to do something. It should. We don't all have to do big things. We can all do small things. And if enough of us do small things, it will become a movement. I thank you.
Thank you very much, President Smith from the Newark NAACP, for speaking to us tonight. That was a very powerful address, and we thank you and we support you in all the work that you do on your side of the table in this fight for civil rights and protection of our freedom and our possibilities and potential in this American society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Folks, you have just heard a powerful address, in my opinion, from Miss Deborah Smith Gregory from Newark NAACP. I must give that a round of applause. Apparently, my speech was not being able to be heard by many viewers on the stream. Because of that, we will be sending a transcript in the chat at the end of this stream. And as she mentioned, we do have our Hour 250 agenda, which is being unveiled tonight. This is the whole premise of the event. And we are going to be dropping that in the stream right now. If that link doesn't work, I believe that link might not work. We are going to be there. This link should work. There we go. Refresh it if that link doesn't work, which will give you the Hour 250 agenda. It's named Hour 250, reclaiming the next 250 years as ours. It includes an executive summary on the last 250, which I quote, "From 1776 to 2026, Black Americans have lived under a contradiction at the heart of this nation. A country founded on liberty systemically denied Black people the very freedom it claimed to defend. For 250 years, our relationship with American democracy has been defined not by inclusion, but by exclusion, by promises made and repeatedly broken. This is what we attempt to combat with our 250, and the work of young people like myself is to be commended, like Ms. Gregory said. I want to use this stream as a way to galvanize our entire Black community to support the movement I'm trying to build, but also to support a movement that we can build together as one. A movement to combat the racial hatred and genocide that we see being spewed in words and being brought to fruition by actions by many people on the news, in person, and online. It is a vast network of white supremacists breaking down our society. So we must use our resources not to break down theirs, because hate cannot combat hate, as Dr. King said, but to bring about a cohesive community of ours which will petition theirs and galvanize our resources to put pressure on theirs to change. It has worked in the past. It is not an unheard of solution. It's a heard of solution. It's a solution that works. So we must continue our ongoing fight for our rights. Now, before we end this stream, we would like to thank everybody that came together to help build this stream, from my team to the Newark NAACP and Miss Deborah Smith Gregory herself. I cannot say any amount of thanks that I cannot say. I have to say thank you every time for what she did. She sacrificed her time to come on our stream, a very new stream, to talk about the next 251st. So I cannot stop applauding and thanking her for her service to us. Thank you very much. We would also like to encourage you to scan the QR code to our Dropbox site, which includes our 250 materials. It's at the top of your screen. And to the side of that also is a QR code with a change.org logo that will let you sign the petition for the Black Lives Matter Act. As entailed in our Hour 250 agenda, the Black Lives Matter Act is a recommended piece of legislation that will enact numerous reforms from the Hour 250 agenda for civil rights. It is the next generation civil rights bill, the Civil Rights Act 2.0, as we like to call it. And it's something that you've just heard applauded, so we need you all to sign on. Sign the petition. Send it to everybody you know. We need 100 signatures by the end of the year because we need to send this to Congress. By July 4th, I would like 90 signatures. I want to be able to go to the mountaintop on July 4th when everybody else is celebrating 250 years of American independence, otherwise known as genocide, corruption, and greed, to say, free at last, free at last, Almighty God, we're free at last because we have a solution backed by the people, for the people, with the people, for our freedom. So folks, thank you for joining us tonight. We hope to provide a better stream, as we know we've had many technical difficulties this evening, from my opening address not being heard by many of you, to late speaker starts. We're sorry, life happens, but we are going to come back. We have a schedule internally outlining sessions throughout the year, and we are hopefully going to make our 250 a podcast, featuring a monthly episode every month, to continue this conversation. So thank you, God bless, and stay safe, everyone. Before we end, I'm going to post my address into the chat. I want you all to read it since most of you all couldn't hear it, because it is a reminder of what we must do to continue the progress that we want to see, and to be the change that we seek. We must be the change that we seek, folks. That's what Barack Obama told us before he ran for president. So that last 250, that was theirs. This is our 250.